Hello and welcome to a short video tutorial in my Frontline IT Customer Support series, in which this video we will be talking about help desk operations. The first thing that'll come to your mind, of course, is, well, what is a help desk? Well, just a basic definition of a help desk is simply that's just an organization that provides a single point of contact for its end users in need of technical support in an organization, and that can either be internal workers or external clients. And that overall goal of that help desk is just by providing a single point of contact is going to streamline the process for both the support agents as well as the end users, whether they be internal or external. We need to provide technical support. Well, providing a help desk is how we get that support to our end users or our customers. During this video, I will go over the following objectives to help desk operational procedures, what those are, the multi-level support module, the incident management workflow. We'll talk about best practices in help desk operation, talk about the physical layout of the help desk work areas. Believe it or not, there is some job stress in the help desk work that you will provide as a customer support representative. Hardware and software tools that are used by support agents, our managers, as well as end users. And a little bit of information about some of the industry trends that we see in the help desk area. Now, when it comes to our help desk operational procedures, remember that our overall goal is to enhance our client or customer satisfaction by both providing effectively and efficiently the ability to resolve problems and our users' questions. You need to be both effective and efficient. Make sure you know the difference between the two. You can guarantee that your customers do. Now, based on the organization, they have different factors that will be involved in how they structure their help desks. Such as whether their users are internal that they need to assist or if they're external, the sheer amount of users and products that the organization supports, as well as the organizational goals and objectives for how and what type of computer support they want to provide. Typically what you're going to see in especially larger organizations is a multi-level support model, and in this structure it is going to have support staff and its services at different levels or tiers for providing that support. So your customer may call and get a level 1 support person who's going to screen the incident and then see if they can provide some lower level support, so those quick fixes, let's say, as well as to take good notes and try to help, if they can't provide the assistance needed, get those customers to the right level or right tier of support. And as they take notes, if they need to escalate the issue, they'll escalate it to level 2, let's say. Just depends on the size of the organization as to how many levels there are, but different levels can have a different scope of services that they can provide. And that will allow a support manager to then not have to deal with all the little issues, but to manage the support staff unless something based on the organization meets their scope where only they can do a certain task, such as product replacement. So just know the organization, and having different skill levels will put you at different tiers. And sometimes, unfortunately, people get promoted to a different tier just because of the amount of time they put in, not because of what they know or the abilities they have. And you may find yourself you believe you're at a very high level of technical ability, but you may have to start at a low level, multi-level support model in an organization. In some cases, you may even hear this called the frontline backline model, or frontline support and backline support. Just depends on the organization. So make sure that you are very well aware of a multi-level support model as you're going into an organization. And that's a great interview question that you may be given when you're going into the IT world is, Do you know what a multi-level support model is? And have you ever worked as tier 1, tier 2, whatever the case may be? If you have worked in an organization, know and be able to explain what you did at that level that you were providing support at. Because not every organization is going to be the same in this multi-level support model. You might find that what you did at layer 1, the wide scope you had, could be a tier 2 or even tier 3 in another organization. So make sure you provide as much information as possible. Definitely know the roles. Now we'll talk about the incident management workflow. And this is simply just a formal process that we as help desk staff are going to follow to receive as well as pre-screen problem incidents, obtain the information requested by a user, or solve a user's problem and then close the incident. So 4 main areas there in that incident management process. Handle the problem incidents, get information to users, solve user problems, and maintain records about the incident. These are key. That's why it is a well-defined formal process that you should have implemented and follow as help desk support. Now there is a subset of this incident management, and that's called call management. And this is primarily concerned with, as you would expect, handling telephone contacts. And as such, it handles the telephone contacts between users and the organization's support agents. A lot of times with incident management, you should have a checklist, such as receive the ticket, pre-screen the ticket, log the incident, screen the incident, prioritize that incident now, assign it if there's you now know the agent to assign to, or escalate the incident. As we talked about the multi-layer tier system, you might need to then escalate that. Another thing in your checklist is, can you resolve the problem? If the problem is resolved, close the ticket, and another step might be to archive that incident so that it can be used later on in the future. Now let's talk about those best practices for help desk operations. And when it comes to best practices, we're talking about the best procedures, tools, and methods that those of us in successful support groups use in the IT industry. Now there is a commonly used set of guidelines that describe how organizations handle such things as incident management, problem management, change management, release management, and configuration management. And that's known as the Information Technology Infrastructure Library, or ITIL for short. Now when it comes to incident management, this is that disruption of normal services that we see. And the goal of incident management as an ITIL best practice is to restore the technology services to normal operating procedures quickly. So you want to make sure that you're back to that normal way that a customer is able to do something. Problem management are those strategies to find and fix the root cause of problem. And the goal of that is obviously to anticipate, repair, and eliminate the root cause of those problems. The ITIL best practice for change management is where we are planning for technology changes in an organization. Our overall goal for change management is to minimize the impact of changes on our users in normal business operations. We do not want to create burden on the business. The ITIL best practice next is the release management. This is implementing change management procedures. We want a smooth implementation of changes to be our primary goal for release management. And then lastly, configuration management. This is where we maintain our asset inventory database. And our goal of this is to identify, control, monitor, and audit all of the technology assets in our organization. This sometimes gets overlooked. So a best practice for help desk operations is to not overlook configuration management. Make sure you know about all of the technological assets you have in your organization and keep those tracked. Now, the physical layout of the help desk work area is going to vary from organization to organization. Obviously, you are not all going to be in a cubicle, but you will find out that in a lot of organizations, that's exactly what a support agent is going to be located in, is a cubicle. Typically, these will be an area with 3 panels around your desk, around your work area, and can be anywhere from 8 to 10 feet wide by 8 to 10 feet long. Just depends on the organization and what size of panels they have, and they can be anywhere from 4 to 6 feet high. You may see that you stand up and you can overlook the whole area, or you may find out that you pretty much are just looking at your 3 walls, the opening to wherever the opening in your cubicle goes, and the lights above you. In your work area, you may have access to 1 or more computer systems. In all of them, hopefully in today's environment, you will have multi monitors per computer that you're working with, so that you are not so confined to one little screen to work from. Another thing you will probably have available to you is some type of reference information library, whether that's digital or hopefully not in an old physical book, to be able to reference. And you should have telephone headsets that kind of give you that freedom of motion to be able to provide assistance to the customer, but not have that phone hanging on your shoulder or in your hand. And at best, hopefully you have wireless headsets that you will be using. Some of the issues that you will typically find due to the physical layouts of our help desk work areas is job stress, different diversions for staff simply because of all the other cubicles and the people in those cubicles, as well as workplace ergonomics. Sometimes if you are having to recreate something, you might feel like you're a little confined when you're trying to do this. So workplace ergonomics are something you definitely want to know about and review, because as you are providing this support for several hours each day, it needs to be an ergonomically friendly environment, such as an ergonomically friendly mouse or ergonomic chair, so that you aren't developing back problems and you can stand to be there for those long hours. So just be aware of this. Even if the screen is too bright, make the adjustments or get a screen filter, whatever the case may be. But ergonomics is definitely going to be an area that you want to pay attention to in your organizations. Now, even though you may have heard people talk about job stress and kind of roll your eyes, believe it or not, job stress is definitely a real thing and is a common complaint of our help desk workers. And the reason for this is that our job stress results from both physical and emotional responses due to some type of mismatch between you as the support representative's characteristics and the actual job requirements to perform your job. Such things that can create this job stress are inadequate training. This is number one for a reason, because it happens all the time where people are thrown into jobs and not really provided with the amount of training that they need to perform their job adequately. Another area is the lack of qualifications or experience. A lot of times you can be put into a job and expected of something that you don't know, or you're not qualified to do, or haven't been around to get the experience you need. Another unfortunate area where job stress occurs is inadequate resources to perform your tasks. I see this a lot where we as technicians have to get some of our own tools, or let's say we need a very fast internet connection and we're dealing with customers and we have a slow internet connection, so that can be bad. Or perhaps you need dual monitors and you're only given one monitor, so you're constantly jumping back and forth with the mouse. Another area is poor workplace ergonomics that I just talked about. Having the right chair makes a world of difference. Unrealistic management expectations, because a lot of times you will find out that IT managers don't have IT backgrounds. So they create these unrealistic expectations. Or even, if you're reporting to someone who isn't even your manager, but you've just been thrown into them for them to manage you. And like, oh, well, I don't think that we really need to spend X amount of dollars on support for this product. And then you find out, well, we really do. And then when it comes time, because of that unrealistic expectation, everyone suffers, including the customer. You could have abusive user or users with unrealistic expectations because you're out of scope. But you have to, because you can't control that, it creates obviously some job stress. Office politics can be another area that creates job stress. Poor management practices, in case you see, like, as an example, Billy Bob is constantly late for work, but nothing is done. But you had a tire that had to be replaced on your way into work, and you are disciplined for that. So those type of poor management practices can definitely create job stress. And then lastly, work style differences between the employees. Your style may be different than someone else. Maybe someone has they like to tap on their desk whenever they're on the phone with someone, and obviously that's going to conflict with yours. Or people don't take notes in their tickets like they should, and that's obviously going to affect you and create some job stress. Some of those symptoms we might see that are there because of job stress are fatigue and insomnia, or head and body aches that you're experiencing. As simple as it sounds, the inability to concentrate on helping your users. Hopefully it doesn't get to a level where you're having expressions of anger, or other people are showing expressions of anger. Low morale, low self-esteem. These are all symptoms of job stress. Some solutions we can look at for job stress are personal stress management techniques and strategies that you find work for you. Maybe there's an organizational change, where someone, let's say you're reporting to a CIO who actually has an IT background and knows the importance of the ability to, yes, we are not a cost center. If we say that we need some money for a certain area and we have the documentation and the evidence to prove it, oh, that makes sense. That makes a good business sense that supports you, rather than having a manager who, is only focused on lean practices in like a manufacturing type setting and doesn't realize the impact it has on the organization. So those are just a couple of possible job solutions. You maybe even changes in your working conditions can reduce job stress, such as, frequent breaks, or, the reduction in interruptions in the work environment and those distractions. Even getting the ability to have like an employee lounge where you can leave your workspace, go to a more comfortable area to kind of wind down, and then come back. So enough about that. That can just create stress just talking about it. Let's move on to hardware and software tools used by support agents, managers, and end users. In recent years, the developments in automation have significantly impacted the help desk industry. An example of this is help desk software that we can now use. We have tools, as I said, for our agents. We have tools for the managers of those agents, as well as tools available to end users. Computer telephony systems, being able to do things over the internet, with live chat and remote software, have greatly helped with the help desk industry. And having that web-based support is just invaluable in keeping us off the phones, and that does reduce some of the stress that traditional help desk have encountered. We have the ability to log and track our incidents that we come across with our users. We can manage those incidents in queues in our software. We can not only do it online, but we can now interface with that telephone system rather than solely being based with the telephone or something coming up to our desk. With those incidents and tracking those and logging those, we can then set priorities as tickets are coming in, which ones receive top priority, not just first come first served basis. We can then see, okay, this impacts more people, it has a greater impact, that severity is much higher, we need to have that priority much higher for that incident. And then we can also assign incidents to our support staff as well as escalate those. And our managers can do that. They can if you have a manager that's managing the help desk software, they can assign tickets and distribute the work more evenly and based on skill level. Another thing with these help desk agent tools we have is that we can store, edit, and recall client contact and location information in that database so that our client information, if we have to change it, is up to date, and we have a history that we can see if maybe a different support agent has helped them in the past, maybe it's a repeat issue, or maybe we see that there is a trend with this customer's hardware or software that we need to look more deeply into. Another function of the help desk agent tools is that we have links to product information so that we can see product features, product limitations, different versions of the product. Maybe there's some known bugs with the product as well as product availability. We also have access to users' configuration information, such as with the client's hardware configuration, maybe their software licenses for the client, network access protocols that have been assigned for the client. We also have problem solution knowledge bases. These are very helpful as a function of our help desk agent tool, because a problem solution knowledge base is going to contain information about common problems, and not just the problems, but what are the solutions to those problems. Some of these may use search strategies based on AI or artificial intelligence. We can have graphics in these knowledge bases, and we can have links in these knowledge bases. They are just a very helpful tool. You must have a knowledge base in your organization. Another function of some of our help desk agent tools is diagnostic utilities. These are just tools to assist in diagnosing and repairing problems, such as remote access to a user system. This will allow us to take control of our user system and hopefully troubleshoot and solve their problem. The next function we might see is communication and information resource links. We may have external connections to email, chat, and web, and some of those internal connections are online help, maybe product documentation, as well as those knowledge base archives. One tool, especially in recent industry trends that we see, is that we have product order entry capabilities to where we can integrate with other business systems to find inventory, maybe to be able to ship something to a customer, or to look at an invoice or create an invoice, maybe even a quotation for work or product. This order entry capability is a great tool. It does expand our abilities a little bit, and sometimes you might find that in some industries they may try to push sales on you that way. Hopefully that's not the case, because a lot of us in the IT field definitely avoid anything with sales, because we just want to help our end users solve a problem. And the last function is agent time management tools, such as having the calendar to do entries for calendaring, automated reminders, and I use that all the time, warning alarms, collaborative tools. With our agent time tool, we may have project management tools or to-do lists. So that is another function that we have available to us. A term that I think is very helpful here when it comes to help desk management tools is, you'll hear this term in the industry a lot, an SLA, which stands for Service Level Agreement. And when it comes to a Service Level Agreement, this is essentially just a contract that defines expected performance of user support services or external vendor provided services. It's in your SLA, you're going to specify response times, such as we provide 24/7 response, or 8/5 response, where 8 hours a day we can provide a response over a 5-day work week, whatever the case may be. You also have service performance objectives, as well as monitors and reports of contracts performance. SLA, definitely a term you need to be familiar with. Now let's conclude with the help desk industry trends. Some of those trends that you see out there that will definitely affect support personnel are cloud computing. Definitely a term you hear all the time. The cloud, the cloud, the cloud. Well, cloud computing is definitely one of those technology trends. Another one is virtualization, whether it be server virtualization or client virtualization. The third trend that you might see are support for wireless technology. In the 21st century, everything is wireless, so make sure that you are current with knowing about wireless technology. And then remote diagnosis remote diagnosis and voice response tools. The ability to provide remote diagnosis and response is invaluable, and it makes things so much faster for us. We don't have to send people out to sites, but be able to know about cloud computing, virtualization, wireless technology. All of that is definitely invaluable to you as a support representative. Some of those workplace trends that we see, unfortunately, one of those is outsourcing. There's an increase in that. There is a demand for certified workers or workers with certifications such as CompTIA, Cisco, Microsoft. So there's definitely a demand in that. So as you're looking at updating your resume and stuff, getting certifications is a must. Another trend we're seeing is telecommuting as a work style, which is great if you're a person who would love to just be able to not have to go to the office all the time and be able to provide and do your work from home, or even a remote site and not have to go into the home office. I mentioned ITIL earlier. There's an adoption of those industry best practices. We are seeing obviously an increased use of web-based support portals and a pressure to reduce the overall support costs as a technician. We're also seeing that resources are being devoted to increased information technology security and the integration of help desk software into many areas. Well, that is it for my lecture over various topics in help desk operation. I hope you found a lot of the information new. I hope you found some information helpful and maybe some information that you want to look into a little bit more. Thank you for following along, and I hope you found the information helpful and that you can go out and continue your research to be the best support technician or support representative that you can be, and realize the importance of the help desk operation. Thank you for following along, and have a great day.